Over the last few years, the entire world has witnessed exponential jump in the wealth of Mr. Gautam Adani, the owner of Adani Group, that has zoomed from 1.6 lakh crore to 9.6 lakh crore within a span of 3 years, making him the third richest person on the planet. However, on 24th January, an American research firm named Hindenburg Research has published a report with serious allegation on Adani Group with the title Adani Group: How the World's Third Richest Man is Pulling the Largest Con in Corporate History. And that shocked everyone. Mind you, this report has been published when Adani Enterprises has come up with an FPO, that is follow-on public offer, worth 20,000 crore, which is the biggest FPO in the history of Indian stock market. But after the report, Adani Group shares collapsed like a house of cards. And that really spooked Adani Group investors. Hey everyone, my name is Sahil and this is my Personal Finance Academy. On 23rd January, American research firm Hindenburg Research has come up with a report where it has revealed some shocking information on Adani Group, and the company has claimed that it has done 2 years of extensive investigation and has evidence that Adani Group is engaged in stock manipulation and accounting fraud scheme over the course of a decade. After the strong allegation from Hindenburg Research on Adani Group, the total valuation of Adani Group crashed from 19.4 lakh crore to 15.3 lakh crore, wiping out 4.1 lakh crore of valuation of Adani Group within 2 days. Yes, you heard that right. Not just a few crore, but 4.1 lakh crore within 2 days. It takes ages to create such wealth that got wiped out within 2 days. Not only that, it also impacted the entire stock market where Nifty tanked 1.6% on Friday and mid-cap and small-cap fell down even more. So in this video, I have analyzed Hindenburg report and key allegation on the group and the response from Adani Group. I have also tried to understand the seriousness of this report and if there are any solid evidence or not. Based on the analysis, I have discussed the impact of this issue on the overall stock market. Alright, let's get started. So first allegation is that Adani Group has manipulated their stock prices to grow them exponentially that made them extremely overvalued. So Hindenburg Research has come up with an allegation that Adani Group has manipulated its stock price by creating many shell companies in foreign countries like Mauritius, then funding their own shell companies and then diverting their own money into the group companies via these shell companies, hence artificially creating demand for their shares to increase their share price. And the Hindenburg Research has even made allegation that Gautam Adani family members were involved in these illegal practices. Moreover, Adani Group also works with many operators and traders to manipulate the share price, including the infamous market manipulator Ketan Parekh. As a result, the stock of Adani Group jumped exponentially. For example, the report says that in last 3 years, Adani Enterprises share jumped 1,398%, Adani Transmission jumped 729%, Adani Total Gas jumped 2,121%, Adani Green Energy jumped 908%, Adani Power 332%, Adani Port 98%, and Adani Wilmar jumped 149% within its IPO in February 22. Hindenburg Research further mentioned that even if you ignore their investigation and just consider the valuation of Adani Group of companies, they are 85% overvalued. Since Adani Group of companies operate in infrastructure activities, infrastructure firms are generally relatively sleepy, low growth, low multiple enterprises. Yet, Adani Group of companies command a crazy high valuation. For instance, at the time of report, Adani Green commanded a price to earning multiple of 815 times against industry average of 24 times. Adani Power PE was 29 times against industry average of 24 times. Adani Total Gas PE was 831 times against industry average of 20x. Adani Transmission PE was 312x against industry PE of 24x. Adani Enterprises PE 508x against industry PE of 12. Adani Wilmar 90x against industry 30x and Adani Port 35x against industry 2x. Reports even looked at price to sales and EV to EBITDA multiple, and on every parameter it was crazy high. That implied a downside of 97.1% for Adani Green Energy, 18% for Adani Power, 97% downside for Adani Green, 92% downside for Adani Transmission, 97% downside for Adani Enterprises, 67% downside for Adani Wilmar, and 93% downside for Adani Ports. So purely on fundamental basis, there is a downside of on an average 85% in Adani stocks as per the report. And if you ask me, I would agree on the fundamental part. If you look at my past videos, I have never discussed the fundamentals of any of Adani group of companies because I found them extremely overvalued. I did one video in the past where I highlighted their crazy valuation. In fact, if you look at the shareholding pattern of Adani group of companies, they are mainly owned by promoters and some FIIs. There is hardly any domestic institutional investor invested in Adani group of companies. The only major DII investor in Adani group of company is our own LIC. And of course, the remaining money is of retail investor. For example, in Adani Green, DII owns 1.4%, out of which 1.28% is of LIC. Adani Power has no DII investment. It's with promoters, some FIIs, and remaining with retail. Adani Enterprises has 5.45% of DII money, out of which LIC hold 4.23%. Then Adani Transmission has 3.78% DII holding, out of which 3.65% is from LIC. In Adani Total Gas, DIS holds 6.09%, out of which LIC has 5.96%. Adani Wilmar has almost negligible DII holding. Now you should be thinking, if Adani group of companies have generated such exceptional result, then why domestic institutional investors do not hold Adani group shares? I guess they have access to insider information. And interestingly, LIC is invested in a lot of Adani group of companies. I was doing my analysis and found that LIC was holding almost 85,000 crore worth of Adani group shares before they tanked in last 2 days. Then another big major allegation from Hindenburg research is that Adani group has also manipulated its accounts to get loans from the bank. Now this is a very serious allegation. And they also pointed out one important red flag, that in the past 8 years, 4 CFOs of Adani group have resigned from the company. Now companies like to have stability in their top leadership. So resignation of 4 CFOs in last 8 years is clearly a big red flag. In fact, almost every company of Adani group has seen a change in CFO every 2 to 5 years. If this allegation on accounting manipulation proves right, then I am afraid things can go really worse for both Adani group and Indian stock market. Hindenburg research has also mentioned that Adani group of companies have taken too much of leverage and have even pledged their shares for loan, and that has increased companies' liquidity risk. So as of today, Adani group of companies have a total debt of 1.9 lakh crore rupees. In this loan, Adani Green has pledged 4.36% stake, Adani Power has pledged 25% shares, Adani Transmission pledged 6.6% stake, Adani Port pledged 7.3%. And share pledging is not a good practice. I always avoid companies where the promoters have pledged their shares. And there is one important parameter to gauge the liquidity of the company, which is current ratio. So if current ratio is less than 1, that means it has short-term liquidity risk. And Hindenburg research has identified 5 companies of Adani group that have current ratio below 1. As far as exposure of Indian banking sector is concerned in Adani group, sort of 2 lakh crore of debt, Indian banks have around 38% exposure, which is around 70 to 80,000 crore rupees. 37% is from bonds and commercial paper, 11% is from NBFC. Within banks, Indian private banks have less than 10% exposure and around 25 to 30% exposure with PSU banks. Now if you look at the percentage exposure of Indian bank in Adani group from their total loan book, it is less than 1%. So banking sector has a very low exposure in Adani group. That is a big relief for Indian banking sector and investors in banking sector. Well, this is certainly not the first time when there are allegations on Adani group. If you remember, there was a report published by CreditSci where it mentioned that Adani group is deeply over-leveraged and it could unravel Adani's entire business empire. Although later CreditSci met with Adani representative and then toned down its comment on Adani group. Then there was a tweet on February 22 by Suchita Dalal who identified Harshad Mehta's scam. She mentioned about a former scamster operating from London to manipulate the stocks of one particular group. Of course, she did not mention Adani group name, but it was clearly hinting towards it. And the former scamster she mentioned is probably Ketan Parekh. She also questioned the role of Finance Ministry and SEBI and their governance structure. Now that we are looking into the Hindenburg research report, I am sure majority of you would have not heard the name of this research firm before. So I tried to look at how credible is this report and how serious are these allegations. First of all, I don't think any research firm would simply make baseless allegation on one of the largest and powerful business group of India without any proof. Second, I had a good look at Hindenburg research report and it is very in-depth. It is a 106 page and 32,000 words report. They have mentioned that it took them 2 years of investigation, and that involved speaking with dozens of individuals, including former senior executive of Adani Group, reviewing thousands of documents, and conducting diligent site visit in almost half a dozen countries. And the research depth is clearly visible in their report, with various proofs attached to support their allegation. I think that you can't cook up this much information. But of course, the allegations are not yet proved, so we have to wait and watch how this war between Adani Group and Hindenburg turns out. By the way, in case you want to have a look at the report, I have provided the link in the description. Now, as far as Hindenburg Research from Reputation is concerned, it was founded in 2017 in US, and it specializes in forensic financial research. Hindenburg Research came into limelight when it bet against electric truck maker Nikola Corporation in September 2020. So Nikola Corporation is basically a manufacturer of heavy-duty commercial battery electric vehicle, fuel cell electric vehicle, and energy solution. Company launched a video claiming to produce a zero-emission 18-wheel truck fueled by electricity or hydrogen. As a result, its share price zoomed from $10 in April 20 to $66 within 2 months. However, Hindenburg Research challenged Nikola claim, and later it was found that Nikola was deceiving its investors and that 18-wheel zero-emission truck was actually rolled down the hill. After that, company's share price tanked to current levels of $2 to $3. That is the reason everyone is taking Hindenburg report seriously. In fact, this report was tweeted by Hindenburg Research, and that was retweeted by billionaire investor Bill Ackman, and said that Hindenburg report is highly credible and extremely well researched. After the report, Adani Group responded with a video message calling the allegation maliciously mischievous and unresearched, distributed to mislead the investor community and the general public, and undermine the goodwill and reputation of Adani Group and its leader, and distributed to damage the ongoing FPO of Adani Enterprise. Adani Group has also mentioned that they are evaluating the legal actions against the research firm. On that, Hindenburg Research published a statement that in the 36 hours since we released our report, Adani hasn't addressed a single issue we raised. We asked 88 straightforward questions that we believe give company a chance to be transparent. Thus far, Adani has answered none of these questions. It further said that if Adani is serious, it should also file a lawsuit in US where we operate. We have a long list of documents we would demand in a legal discovery process. After this development, by Friday 27 Jan, Adani Group lost 4.1 lakh crore of market cap, with Adani Transmission, Adani Total Gas, and Adani Green each falling 20%, Adani Enterprise falling 18.5%, Ambuja Cement down 17%, and Adani Port tanked 16.3%. Overall, the group companies lost around 20 to 25% market within 2 days. Interestingly, LIC, that had nearly 85,000 crore worth of investment in Adani Group of companies, lost 18,000 crore in just 2 days. So this is the development so far. We have to wait and watch what happens next. But here, one thing I would surely agree, where Hindenburg Research mentioned that even if you ignore their investigation and just consider the valuation of Adani Group of companies, they are extremely overvalued. To me, it seems like there is going to be a long legal battle between Adani Group and Hindenburg Research. My only concern is that if the allegations proves right, it can also have a catastrophic impact on Indian stock market as well. FIs can even lose confidence on Indian market, and that can result in further deep correction in Indian market. Having said this, I believe that fundamentally Indian economy is very well positioned. Remember that over the last 40 years, Indian market has seen many scams, been at war with neighbors, seen catastrophes, and much more. Yet, Indian economy and stock market has not just survived but has flourished. So this fall has created a great buying opportunity, and any further fall would make the market even more attractive. Banking stocks have already corrected on Friday, and there's a good value in some of the top private lenders like ICICI Bank, as well as some of the mid-cap private lenders. Overall, it was a shocking development, and I tried to show you the entire development with an unbiased lens. I have nothing against or in favor with any of the groups. However, as a taxpayer and the investor in Indian market, I am concerned about Adani Group valuation and allegation from Hindenburg Research. Now let's see how things unfold. By the way, what is your take on the incidents? Let me know in the comments. And if you find the analysis useful, do consider subscribing to the channel. I'll see you next video. Till then, take care.